guys, I'm Lydia.
Hi, I'm Jessi.
And I'm Adam. Let's talk Hoya.
Hello, everybody. 안녕.
Hola.
Welcome to Let's Talk Hoya podcast. So today's episode, and we love all the episode suggestions because we want to talk about what you guys want to hear. And we had received an email from one of you guys talking about how, I guess we have talked about how rerouting Hoya is like really easy, and it's something that feels daunting to them. So they said, can you all do an episode about rerouting and maybe tips on saving a declining plant? And actually, this is like a very good topic suggestion because I feel like we've like touched on it here and there for like our care tips and stuff, but it's something that we all go through. Like I even had plants declining recently from like moving and stuff, and it just always happens all the time. So it's a good one. It
also is sometimes I'm happy that people are hesitant to just like rip their plant out of the soil or whatever they're in and like repot it. But at the same time, I don't understand that because like I always was just like, oh, we'll just dump this out and see what's going on.
Yeah.
But it is good to like have a good picture of like how are things to do when you're repotting or saving. So
100%. So first off, the expert Jessi, what are the signs of your plants dying?
I literally was going to say, I feel like this is an episode where y'all don't even need to be here. No, I'm just kidding.
The expert is here.
The expert is in the room. The call is coming from
the
inside the house.
first layer of death is this.
This is the first episode where Jessi is actually the expert dying plants.
Anyway, what is the first sign that your plant is dying? Usually for me, I start finding leaves on the ground. And I'm like, where did those come from? And then I look up and I'm like, oh.
Wait, I don't think that's dying plant. I think Jessi went straight to dead plant.
I'm like, oh girl, what's going on? Long time no see. And she's like, no,
hey girl.
No, but for real, you'll start to see the leaves like, shrivel, wrinkle, droop. It's very obvious. Like some of them will have like new growing vines, but then they'll start like drying out from the tip, from the end of the new growth, things like that. Or I'll have just seen a new leaf that's coming out, and then I go back and look at it, later, and it's the new leaf has either dried on the stem or has fallen off. So those are very obvious signs there's something wrong. In my case, usually it just means I haven't watered in a while, but it could be all sorts of, issues.
Yeah.
I was going to add though, usually that is a big sign when you have watered and you're seeing that, like you're caring for your plants properly and you're seeing it, because wrinkly leaves are our normal process part of plants.
Yeah.
There was once a time where my leaves would never go wrinkly, but now that I have, learned to give myself grace, leaves go wrinkly. Yeah. And that's okay because once you water them, they rehydrate. But it's that point where you're watering them, you're taking care of them, you're doing everything that you think is right, but it doesn't look right. That's when you know something's not right. Sorry, that logic was very obvious.
But the wrinklies, mine do. We have a plant. If you're looking at the YouTube video,
a guest plant,
a Matrata on the table, and it is very wrinkly.
Yeah, maybe Adam will put some close-ups of the bloom here.
But it's still fine.
It's still fine.
Doing fine.
It bloomed. Yeah. But that is the thing. Like you notice the foliage gets like a little dull. And loses its turgidity, and it gets like wrinkly, and you can fold it really easily. But like Lydia said, the real problem is once you've watered that, like I would say a day.
Yeah, usually like 24 hours, no more than 48 hours.
Yeah. If like 48 hours rolls around and it still is not hydrating,
something's wrong.
Yeah. What are the options when it gets... Is that what we're headed into? Like, what are the options when it gets there?
Yeah, I feel like you have a couple of options to see kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
One, if your plant is declining, I would say, like, usually if a plant is declining, like if it's losing leaves, if the vine like growing and drying off at the tip isn't always a worry for me, because I feel like sometimes there are some plants where if it dries out for too long or if it doesn't have a trellis, the tip will dry out. So that's not always like a big concern for me. It's like if the new leaves just keep on blasting, then I feel like that's a concern. So I feel like there's like a little bit of investigation you can do. Like we always recommend a jeweler's loop or a microscope specifically. Check and see if there's any pests. Look at the roots, see if there's good root growth, especially if you grow like semi-hydroponically like we do, then there can be dead roots. There's always dead roots, but you just want to make sure that there's still good roots. So do the roots look good or do they all look dead? And then I always like check the stem and I just like squish it because sometimes stem rot happens. So like squish the stem and see how that looks. And then from there, if you feel like you want to try to rehab this plant the way that it is, you don't see any pests, the roots look kind of okay, then I would do two things. One, I would take a cutting if possible and reroot that cutting and then rehab the existing plant. And there's a few ways that I would do it. I would either put it in, I would look to put it into like a high humidity situation. So I would either put it in like a plastic bin or a big like gallon Ziploc bag or something of that situation is what I would look into doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, I mean, with rooting a cutting, we all have our methods on how we like to propagate. High humidity, and that is always going to be like a really good success. We always use these prop boxes or gallon bags or whatever. Now, cuttings can be a little more forgiving, I think, than the big, I want to say mother plant, but you know, the stalk of the plant. That one for sure needs humidity. Like, I think sometimes cuttings, it could be, you keep them watered, they may not need humidity, but I do think that if you're going to be trying to reroot like a pretty large plant, like having it in some sort of box will just give you the best setup for success because the humidity will start like being taken in by like the roots that grow along the stem and it'll keep it hydrated, at least enough to keep it, you know, functioning till the root system grows is what I've found. Now, the other thing that I do, especially when I'm trying to like reroot things in like our passive hydro, is I do fill water pretty like halfway through the medium. Like if I'm rerooting in like a 3.5 inch pot or a 4-inch pot, I'll fill the water up. So then I know that it's always staying moist. But that's worked for me in the past. So, because sometimes like how we usually all have our setups with wicking cords is it doesn't pull it all the way up to the top and it dries out pretty quick at the top. But when you have a plant that has like a lot of root growth, the roots are kind of pulling through capillary action. So it's kind of pulling it all the way up to the top and then it's airing out when it gets up there. But when there's not a lot of roots, I found that it doesn't travel as all far up in the substrate. So then sometimes if you like don't have a lot of stem to work with or something, and it's maybe just in the first like 1/2 inch to an inch of like the top of the pond, it's not ever really getting moisture. I mean, maybe a little bit.
Because the way that we set it up is we have the cache pot, which is the outer pot with no drainage hole. And then we have a pot inside that has the actual substrate. And then there's the wicking cords. And there's always a little bit of space between the pot itself on the inside and on the outside. And that's where the solution or the water or whatever it is that you use sits. And it doesn't ever touch the inner pot. But yeah, whenever you're like rerooting something or you're trying to root something in just the passive semi-hydro situation, then filling it up, I always also do at least halfway up the inner pot is what seems to work. Because like you said, like the top does always stay dry, but you can tell when you do allow the solution to like touch into the pot, then like you can tell it's like moist on the top.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a little bit of a patience game, especially if you're rerooting a larger plant.
Yeah.
Because that baby will stay wrinkly for a long time. But then one day you're just going to check on it and you'll be like, oh, wait.
Yeah, sometimes it's like unnerving because you're like, it's going to all die.
Yeah, but like you said, do take the cutting. Like you should, no matter what, you should always take like the tip of the end cutting. And pro tip to make sure that it's a good stem piece, make sure that it does leak out a little latex. Because that means that it's like still healthy.
Because you don't want to pull from one where like the stem is rotted or dried out completely. And when you cut it, if there's nothing no sap that comes out of the end, then it's like, I don't know if I would trust it, you know? Yeah.
No.
You know what I've been doing lately? So sometimes like if I decide like I want to take a cutting from a plant, but I can't be bothered to actually pot it up in that instance, but like I have like the willpower to actually cut the plant down. Remember that one time, it was like maybe a few weeks ago, you gave me the Dynastia Frida in a Ziploc bag. And I was like, you know what? This is actually really smart. And so what I do is I just cut up the plant and then I leave it out for like the day or something. And then I'll just squirt a little bit of water in there, blow it up and put the cuttings in there until I can be bothered to like take out the substrate and the cups and like do the whole thing. And it has worked really well actually.
Yeah.
So like if you feel like you're like, oh, I want to help this plant. Because sometimes I feel like when you're like doing plant care and something is wrong, you almost don't have the capacity to then
take care of it.
The whole
entire process.
100%. But I feel like sometimes it helps to break it down. So if you in that moment can at least take like a cutting of the plant, then take the cutting and then just put it in an environment where you know it's not going to dry out and die completely. And then when you have the time to be able to like set it up however you want to root it, then take the time to do that. So I've done it a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like really helped with just making it feel manageable.
Yeah. I love that. And it also gives you the chance to like, some of the times I've restarted plants because of mites or like a pest infestation. And when you take a cutting and you can kind of like scrub that down pretty easily because it's just a small cutting. If you do that method, you can also, scope that pretty easily and keep like spraying it down for like 100%. The next week or whatever. But that is a really good pro tip. Again, I've also had people give me like plants like that too in a bag. Like that lady from Flagstaff, she just gave me that Discidia like that. And that's just, it's kind of wild to think about. Yeah, it's giving it humidity in there. The aerial roots will start popping out. Remember like how some of the cuttings in our boxes always have like roots everywhere? I
mean, we used to literally put plants in to-go containers.
Yeah.
To root, but honestly, you don't even need the substrate. The substrate is merely a vessel, but even without the substrate, just the fact that there is moisture in there is all it needs.
Yeah.
It's almost like...
Do you put it under like a light?
I just like put it next to one of my shelves that has some grow light, but I don't put it directly under.
Right there. Do you see it still in the back? And it's still like fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than like when we pop a plant into a cup of water. Like it's just the moisture that does it.
Yeah.
I was about to say the only way I've ever successfully rooted something is in water. Maybe I have to try the
I just popped it in a bag, sprayed a little water in it, and it's worked for at least like 5 plants that I've done it for.
Yeah. I would say my favorite way to like mass root plants would probably still be the choir perlite that you did and that you showed me that you do with the shop. Like that is still my favorite way. Like if I have like 10 cuttings that I need to root, that's what I'm doing.
It works really well.
Yeah. I've also done a pond salad recently, which is just like I took a whole pot of like pond and just stuck in 5 or 6 different cuttings in there and put them in a jar for humidity. That also worked really well.
Yeah.
But I am that person that stops myself from doing something like, oh, I see this really sick plant and I was like, I need to take care of that. But the thought of like, oh, doing that whole process from start to finish feels way too overwhelming. So
like cutting down the plant. Well, first inspecting the plant, cutting the plant, taking the plant out, cleaning the pond, cleaning the pot. Like it feels like a lot. But if you like just do a little bit at a time, like I'll just like maybe inspect it as I walk by. And then I'm like, all right, I need to take a cutting of that. And then like at a certain point, take a cutting of it, put it in a plastic bag. And then it really does feel a little bit less daunting.
For sure.
But
If it was like a big established plant that I noticed is declining, would it have any effect or help it in any way to cut off like the weaker looking parts of it? Like, is that going to help at all? Do you guys think it will? Do you think it doesn't really matter?
I don't know. I think sometimes that's a lot of aesthetics. I think plants know pretty well like what they can and cannot handle, and I think we see that even with our Hoya when we see like the first thing to go are those like new leaves. Mm-hmm. They just like dry up and flake off because it's just like, nope, we don't have the energy to create this, so it cuts it off. And even when you see sometimes when your leaves get damaged, like the plant seals that leaf off almost like our trees do in the fall time, where the leaves start changing color and it seals it off, and then the leaf just falls off. Like
nature knows.
Yeah. So I think that sometimes the plants, they just know what they can and cannot handle. Personally, that's what I think.
Yeah.
That's
because that is something that I do. Like once I notice one of my bigger, more established plants is struggling, I immediately like cut off all the dry, cut off like the parts that already look like they're not going to come back. Because even that, the whole like it's harder to care for the big thing, and like in a way tricks my mind into like this is now a smaller plant. I can rinse it. I can spray it. I can, check on it in a few days rather than like, this is this big problem I've got. It makes it a smaller problem. I still made the problem, but it makes it a little more handleable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So a lot of my huge trellis plants, I literally just cut down to like two leaves and just was like, well, that's where I'm going back to. Because it just is a lot more easy to take care of that.
And if you decide to keep the whole plant, like whether or not it makes a difference, I think at the end of the day, like how I think about it is like, that vine that's dried up is not going to make it. That leaf that's yellowing is not going to make it. So I'm just going to cut it off and make it just look as best as possible. So when it does come back, like it's doing well, like there's nothing going on with it that I'm concerned about,
Yeah.
But recently I had to reroot my whole obovata splash.
Did you?
What happened?
Big plant, yeah. I think I just let it go for too long without watering it.
Dry
rot, yeah. So I had watered it one day.
Okay, what substrate's that in again?
It's in pond.
Okay, that one's in pond.
It is in pond.
How big is the pot?
It's in a 8-inch pot.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's its forever home. The 8-inch pot, it's forever home. It's a cute little white pot that I got from IKEA. And it's the one, like, it's like round on the top and then it kind of dips in a little bit, kind of looks like a pedestal. I think it's really cute with like little flecks in it. It's white with like little darker flecks in it. I think you probably have one of those.
Yeah.
But
I know which one you're talking about.
That one's really cute. That's what it's in. And I had watered everything. And then a couple of days later, like I had noticed that obovata was a little bit wrinkly. But then a couple of days later, I noticed it was still wrinkly, but it wasn't as green. Like it starts like getting dull, like a little bit like grayish, like it loses that vibrant green that it has in it. And I was like, ooh, there's something wrong with this plant. And I lifted it up and like there were roots, but they were all dead. Like you can tell, they're just like super stringy and they just fall off. And I just knew like there isn't anything good going on here.
Yeah.
And whenever I notice that all the roots are like dead on a plant, I don't try to reroot it just the way that it is, because the dead roots do kind of bother me a little bit.
Of course they do.
Because it's just
you
like,
just know they're in there.
You just know that they're in there. And I'm like, and they're not doing anything good. And there's no more good, healthy roots anymore. So literally what I did was I just cut off the most bottom leaf and I just went right up to the substrate and doink.
And doink?
Yep, just doinked it.
And then let that heal over for a little bit?
And then I cut out the trellis and then I just yoinked it out of the pot.
Lots of sound effects here. Boink, boink.
I just took it out of the pot and then I was like, well, it's already out. So then I like rinsed it down and...
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I was watching a plant thing.
Okay, boomer.
Why is that on? Isn't the sound supposed to be off?
What?
The volume is on.
That's the volume
down?
for your ringer.
Not for the videos?
I don't think so.
So sorry, guys. I really was doing research here.
About how to make your milkshake bring the voice
it's
to the
about
yard.
A plant. I don't know why they use that sound.
So I took it out and I didn't even let the end heal over.
I don't either sometimes.
There are some plants that I do, and I can mention it, but this specific plant, I've never had a problem at rooting in any situation. They're very hardy. The stem is super woody. I don't ever have rot issues, like stem rot issues with obovata. So I just cut it, I rinsed it down, and then I just popped it right back into a new pot, filled it up with pond, filled it up with water, and I just set it back onto the shelf. And that was maybe 3 weeks ago. By the second week, I could already tell the leaves were coming back. And this week I was watering and I could already see roots.
Yeah. I love that. I do think that the one thing that I hope that this episode helps people with is to just not be afraid, because Hoya, they are hardy MFers.
Yeah.
Like I've had to reroot the Bella so many times. It got down to like, do you remember how wrinkly that thing got when it was like really bad?
Really wrinkly.
And the whole thing rerooted. Like,
which is wild.
You just got to keep it. You got to keep it hydrated. You got to keep it. So with that, I couldn't give it a lot of humidity, but I made sure that the substrate was always had water hitting it, or that it was always kind of staying moist. And
that was one of the reasons I sprayed down the obovata, because it is such a big plant. There's no way I can give it high humidity. So, Hoya can take moisture in through their foliage, their leaves. And so I sprayed it down because in my mind, I'm like, it's going to take some of this in and it's going to give it some kind of a boost.
That's a good idea to spray it while,
So I did that and then, but I wasn't concerned about rerouting this plant. If it was a plant that I was not 100% sure about, I would have taken a top cutting. I would have taken a top cutting and I would have put that into a prop box situation as my emergency backup while I tried to reroot this plant. But I felt pretty good about it doing okay. And so I just rerouted it. And 3 weeks later, it has new roots and it's all plumped back up and nice and green again. And just, it's actually going to bloom. So might be a death bloom, but it's going to bloom. So
that's exciting.
But one of the Hoyas that I feel like rot really easily is the Hoya Aniki boys.
Really?
The outer variegated one, not the inner variegated one. Specifically, the outer variegated one, I feel like is very prone to getting stem rot.
The Bella. Multiflora was another one. I feel like that I was
stem rot, the outer variegated one.
I did let that one heal over for a whole 24 hours before I tried, and even lost some after that.
And that one takes a long time to even root. You have to give it at least a month before you start seeing anything happen to it. But that one is also prone to stem rot.
Yeah. But kind of back to Jessi's point about cutting off the dead stuff. Like, I think that's a great idea. Also, something that has helped me when I have like a Hoya that doesn't grow at all, or something that's being like really stagnant or annoying, if it's big enough, and you just like kind of cut the tip off of it. Sometimes that's enough to just jumpstart it to start growing. So I want to also tell people that you can do that. I have had people reach out to me. They're like, I've had this Hoya. It's like 3 nodes. I've had it for a year and it's done nothing. And I'm like, literally after 3 months, if I didn't see anything, I'd be cutting the last node off of that Hoya, because sometimes that's just all it takes.
But sometimes you do just have to wait.
A year though?
Sometime. Remember, what was that plant that I talked about in one of our episodes where literally I could not get it to do anything. And then all of a sudden it popped off. And once it started going, it has been unstoppable. I don't even remember what plant it was.
I vaguely remember what you're saying. Yeah.
But sometimes though, there are sometimes plants that just struggle and there isn't anything you can really do about it.
Yeah.
And a prime example for me of that is my Hoya maniparensis, which I've talked about before. And I got that plant at least 3-4 years ago. And it has always stayed a small plant. Like I could put it into like a 2-inch pot and no pest issues, no root issues. Like I would always see nice, healthy roots. I would scope it. There would be nothing wrong with it. And it would like constantly eat leaves. Like it just wouldn't grow very well. And I finally threw it away. But
okay,
I think sometimes some plants are just I don't know, for one reason or another, just not very good plants. But I've only ever had that happen once. So,
Yeah.
but you know, I still gave it 3 to 4 years and I gave it a try. And then one day I was just over it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay to let go.
Just eat the plant.
Be a Doug.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, he should have shirts that says be a Doug.
Be a Doug. So what are your favorite rooting methods? So let's talk about cuttings. I know we've talked about this probably in tons of episodes and here and there, but it always can go over again.
Yeah, I think for me personally, my 2 favorite methods if I'm doing cuttings is either using pon or using, I use a Cocoa Choir Perlite charcoal mix.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason that I like Cocoa Choir is that you're able to easily move that plant into a different substrate because the substrate itself like doesn't stick onto the roots hardly at all. And it's very easy to remove.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it works really well.
It does.
So that is a substrate I use. Either that or, you know, I use the little tiny shot
like 3
plastic
ounces.
Yeah, like the little plastic shot glasses. So I'll use that. But when you do pon, you know, the bottom one, you basically use one as a cash po and then you put another one in there, and I'll usually just dock off the ends so that there's little holes, and then I for the little cups, because they dry out really fast, I just fill it up all the way until I see roots, and then once you see roots, then you know you're pretty much good to go. But
yeah, that's kind of those are my favorite ones to use too. The Cocoa Choir does wash off incredibly easy. So like it's a way to mass propagate efficiently, but also like if you're not going to keep it in that medium or whatever medium you're going to, like, yeah, it's just really easy to get them clean. And
you can even just like tap it and a lot of it comes off.
Yeah.
So
big time.
Very easy.
For rerooting, like I also do the pon. I have mixed things in like a 3-inch pot, like mixed a couple cuttings together, which whatever. Strawberry forks in that situation are like a must.
Especially with the bigger leaves because
Yeah.
they just flop around everywhere. It really helps.
Yeah. I have been sticking things in water lately, like because of that whole thing of like, I don't have space for this.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to stick in water. Like I've had tons of Hoya cuttings like on these shelves, just in jars of water. They're doing fine.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
Because
and they're
there's
going to
no
go in pon.
You
and
just fill up a bottle with water and just pop them in there. There's a convenience to it.
So that's also a method I like. Rerooting, I really do like the Melfo pots that we had. I mean, we've kind of been on a journey with them. We were like all like, yeah, get the Melfo. And then we were like, wait, it's an orgy for root mealies. And then
But I still use them.
I do too.
I do too.
And I really like them for rerooting because of the fact that part of the substrate is always sitting in the water or nutrient solution.
And it's always the perfect amount.
And I just stick it in like another pot to prevent it from like drying out too quickly, which also helps.
And that also might help prevent the buggies from walking around too much too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably could help if like you had some diatomaceous earth like down. I don't know, but those little they'll get anywhere, I think.
Okay, but back to the water propagation real quick. I saw this reel of this girl who grew a monstera in water. And I guess there's this pot that's on like a plant stand, and it's a big pot, like a clear vessel specifically for water grown plants. And it's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah?
I wonder if I can find it because I literally just saw it.
Show me to me.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I have a big Albo growing in water too, and it's getting like it's going downhill kind of a little bit because it's really hard to like take down and rinse out. So I haven't changed the water out in a while.
You think that's why it's kind of...
Yeah, and also I let it go dry too long. Like one time I went over there and there was like just a half an inch of water in the bottom, and I was like, oops.
What if you threw like a little fish in there? They wouldn't like clean up the water.
The fish police are going to come for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just, saying things that have no basis behind them.
Remember in when we went to the Conservatory Flowers in San Francisco, and they had that giant like water orb with like different kind of water plants, and there was like little fish, like little babies in it. Like huge.
That's what I'm saying here.
Yeah. I think that's too small.
The fish police. Lydia would know.
Yeah, because it's a whole thing. Like 5 gallons is the minimum.
Oh, minimum 5 gallons.
Minimum 5 gallons. Anything under 5 gallons, people will start rioting. If you don't have a filter, people will start rioting. If you don't have water movement, people will start rioting. There's a lot of little things. The fish community police. When it comes to live things that blink and breathe, not plants, but like when it comes to animals, people get very serious.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I'd rather people be more serious than less serious.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like back in the day when I was first getting into plants, like all of that did feel very daunting. And the fact that like a plant that I loved was deteriorating felt very, what's the right word? Like it felt like devastating almost in a way. But once you figure it out, it really just takes like a few times to figure out. And once you figure it out, then if something is happening to your plant, like it definitely feels much less daunting to take care of it or know that something is going to happen and you can get it to come back, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and then with that, like, I don't think that there's ever going to be anyone, and maybe there is, and if this is you, I'm sorry, but I don't think there's going to be anyone who's like literally having all of their plants struggle at the same time. So there's going to be like a Lacanosa, there's going to be Mathilde, something there that has ample nodes that you could practice on. Mm-hmm. So take a couple cuttings of that, try to reroot those, and just like
rooting new plant practice. Yeah, that's actually a great idea.
Get your footing with it, and it makes it a lot less scary. Mm-hmm. But yeah, of course, it's going to be scary on a plant that you spent like $70 on, and that's the most you've ever spent on a plant, and you don't want it to die. Like, yeah, that's high stakes. But there's some other low stakes plants, or just go to a plant swap and try with one of those. But I promise you'll be. I think Hoya will always surprise a lot of you that are a little nervous. Like,
that's
they make it.
The reason why I'm still in the hobby. Like literally,
that's why she's still in the game, folks.
When it was just aeroids and everything just kept dying, it was, like you said, a little disheartening. But with Hoya, I keep coming back to the fact that they survive and they make it. And by the time everything's dying, I've got 2 great local friends who can help me replenish. And so it's been, like I've been able to stick to the hobby rather than just being like, I'm horrible at plants. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I have been kind of like wanting to do some more Hoya and like soil. So I've been doing I've been
thinking the same.
I've been doing something. I took a cutting, 2 cuttings of the same plant. I'm growing one in pond and one in soil. And I'm just gonna grow them up next to each other and see how it goes.
I have a lot of plants in soil right now, actually.
What's going on here, girls?
Here's what the soil gives me pause. Here, and I'll say that is because I obviously have root mealy problems, or I've had, or I'm likely going to continue to have, or will have the rest of my life. Whatever. I'm okay, but it is harder to deal with in soil. So if and when I get to the point of like homeostasis and no root mealies in this thing, I think that I probably will put a lot more in soil.
Yeah.
Just why? I don't know. But the idea of just like being able to have like take a whole plethora of pots outside and just with a hose, is very, very enticing.
Yeah.
See, I think you think that, but then when it comes to actually,
I won't do it.
Doing the task, you're not not in any mean way, but like we're very similar. I think that too. But even literally just getting them from the shelf to the sink sometimes takes like all of me.
Yeah.
And then to think about going outside, closing the door, spraying them, and then
tripping over that step.
And then like, what if a bug gets in there while I'm spraying them?
Oh, God,
what if I forget them outside?
Which we will forget them outside.
We will forget them outside. Like I feel like unless it's a permanently outside plant.
I know, but I want some permanently outside plants.
Yeah, I do too. I believe in you. Like you can do it.
But yeah, I put a lot of plants in the soil too, and I still do like the whole cash pose situation though, because I have a pretty ceramic pot on the outside, and then I planted it in a clear plastic pot.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
I
like, the same
specifically,
pots?
I thought sitting in water, Cashpo.
oh no,
I was like, how?
no. So not the orchid pots with the holes everywhere. I just found some clear pots, just like clear nursery pots. And then I just potted it in there because the thing is that bothers me about soil sometimes is the fact that you can't look at what's happening with them.
Yeah.
Like you're just like,
You can't know everything.
no, you're just assuming everything's fine.
But he wants to see all the plant privates.
But now I'm like, oh, okay, that works. So,
Show me those, whip those planties off.
Anyway, yeah. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of hope in your plant care and things of that nature, and to not feel like it's that daunting. And if you see wrinkly leaves or a plant struggling, that it's not something that's too devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's normal.
And some good things for, just before we head out, some good things that we have done for humidity. Lydia said the bag is a great one. We just go and look at like frosted clear, like storage containers.
Container store clutch.
Takeout containers.
They have
Take out
coupons.
container. Like if you're going to be rerouting like a trailing Hoya, just get like a 8x8 box, storage box.
Shoe box, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've been buying a lot of yarn, and Michael's always has a 30% or 40% coupon for one item if you go in store, or on your entire purchase if you purchase it online for pickup. So if you just need one clear bin,
Michael's.
then just use a coupon from Michael's and buy one. Because the thing about the clear bins is when sometimes I would put bigger plants into a bin like that, because instead of having it like, what would that be called? Vertical,
Yeah.
that you can just tip it onto its side and it makes it longer, and you can fit up to like a 2-foot plant into it.
That's a good idea. And then it's just like you have a door that opens it, and then
and just set it in a corner or something. But Michael's coupons, man, I'm telling you,
for sure.
I would have never thought about that.
I wouldn't have either. That's a good idea. So yeah, there's lots of options. But head over to Instagram. Follow us at Let's Talk Hoya. Give us some of your options as well. Tag us. Share your knowledge.
ooh, send us pictures of your prop situations.
Yeah.
Everyone does it different. It's kind of fun.
It is fun. But yeah, I hope that helped. And also, don't forget, you can follow all of your hosts individually on Instagram. I am at NotDude.
I'm at thegreenplant.az.
And I'm at Peritos y Plants. Adios.
Annyeong.
Bye.